Hello and welcome to the Schaefer Center on the beautiful campus of Southwestern Assemblies of God University in Waxahachie, Texas. My name is Adam Ferguson, joined by my partner Devin Webb. Devin, how you doing tonight? Back-to-back broadcasts.
Yeah, doing good. We're looking forward to a great game today.
You are in store for the SAGU Lady Lions playing host to the Central Christian Tigers, the first-year team here in the Sooner Athletic Conference. We're going to get into a little bit of that here in a second, but first, let's go to our courtside reporter, Kat Burns, as she caught up with Coach Moore before the game. Kat, what's Coach have to say?
Thanks, Adam. Coach Moore, Central Christian is new to this conference. Can you give me a little bit of insight on this team's play?
Central Christian's come into a new conference and one of the better conferences in the country, and they're a young team, but they're very athletic, and so on any given day, anybody can beat anybody.
And your libero, Celie Bruce, is out for today's game. What's your game plan?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to move right on in and let Brittany Stolaby be our libero, and for John Cookman, Coach Belichick would say next player up, so we have to have somebody step up.
And after a tough loss last night, how do you plan to regain momentum and win today?
Well, what we do is we come out and we're going to fight real hard today and just get after it and do the very best that we can. I feel very good. When you lose, there's some things you can learn from it, and I hope we're learning a good lesson from that.
Thank you, Coach Moore. Good luck today. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kat. There is Coach Moore. A tough loss last night against Oklahoma City in a conference matchup. SAGU ultimately falling 3-1, and really, it felt like a heartbreaking loss, Devin.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of intense rallies in the match last night, and we talked a lot about how important it was for both teams to play point for point. And unfortunately, the Lady Lions got into a bit of a deficit a couple of times, and mentally and emotionally, it was just hard for them to come out of that and pull back together. So I think today they've got a fresh perspective and a clean slate, and they're ready to take on this new team.
Going into last night, the Lady Lions were sitting atop the Sooner Athletic Conference standings, but with that loss to OCU, we now have a three-way tie, as you see it there, between Texas Wesleyan, SAGU, and Oklahoma City. A big matchup today in the Sooner as Texas Wesleyan and Oklahoma City going at it in Texas Wesleyan. So we'll keep a close eye on that. If you're a Lady Lions fan, you do want Texas Wesleyan to walk away with that win against the Stars, because as you know, that one loss in that column for the Rams came by way of the Lady Lions. So we'll keep a close eye on that matchup today so we can see the chaos that is the top of the Sooner Athletic Conference standings. And, of course, don't count out John Brown sitting down there at 2 losses in the Sooner. They are still very much alive here as we come to the final stretch of conference play here to end the year. Let's go into some of these players to watch. We talked to Coach Moore before the game, and a couple of players have hit milestones and are coming up on milestones. The first one we'll talk about, Callie Shaw, just a few games ago, got her 1,000th career kill as one of the leading hitters for the Lady Lions. Talk about that kind of milestone and what it means for Callie as a junior to hit that mark.
Yeah, my first point was going to be, even though she is a junior, she's in that upper class rank, but she still has another full year to go. And coming in with a strong hitting team like the Lady Lions have, that's a huge milestone for her to still have a whole nother season to add on to that 1,000th mark. And that really shows that she is a go-to for the Lady Lions. So offensively, if we're in a pinch, she's going to be one of those people that we go to and rely on. And we saw it last night. It's not only on the front row, too. They set Callie Shaw a lot on the back row, so she's really strong offensively, both from the front and the back of the court.
Another player to keep an eye on is sophomore setter Sophia Ivy. She is coming up on 2,000 assists for her career. Coach Moore says she should get to 1,900 tonight, and we'll keep an eye out for that the rest of the season. Hopefully that young sophomore, again, 2,000 assists, huge milestone for someone so young.
Yeah, and that is a testament to how the Lady Lions can keep moving the ball. If you have a team that struggles to pass well and play strong defense, then you don't really get a lot of opportunities as a setter to set up your offense. And so you can see there by that high number that Ivy has had every opportunity and more to set up that offense, which in turn helps her out when you've got strong hitters on the front row. That helps her percentage in the assist column. So we're looking forward to a great game today from her. And that's I mean, she could hit 4,000 by the end of her career easy.
Will SAGU bounce back after that tough loss against Oklahoma City last night? We will find out as we send you live courtside for the opening prayer, national anthem, and then, of course, the announcement of the starting lineups. Don't go anywhere. Central Christian versus the Lady Lions right here on the SAGU Sports Network.
Embracing 5 core values: respect, integrity, responsibility, servant leadership, and sportsmanship. We ask each of you as a participant, official, or spectator to abide by these values by creating a positive environment in which our athletes may participate, our officials may work, and you, the spectator, may enjoy. We hope you enjoy this contest. And now, please rise and remove your hats as we honor God in prayer. Then remain standing and face the flag as we honor our nation with the singing of the national anthem by SAGU student and member of the Harvesters, Derek Borden. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for today. Lord, we thank you for this time here. God, I pray that you watch over these players, Lord, as they perform today. I ask, God, that you protect them from all injury and all harm. God, I pray, win or lose, they give you the praise and glory for it. I pray that you protect us on our ways back home after this match. We thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. In his name we pray. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now the starting lineups for the Tigers. Outside hitter number 2, Hannah Fredrickson. Right hitter number 11, Michaela Tuttle. Outside hitter number 14, Casey Plott. Middle hitter number 15, Rebecca Glessner. Outside hitter number 9, Casey Cross. Number 23, Morgan Cook. And at libero, number 13, Desiree Padilla. Head coach for the Tigers is Jeremy Manning. And now the starting lineups for your SAGU Lady Lions. Right side hitter, number 2, Kelly Shaw. Middle hitter, number 3, Madeline Hartline. Outside hitter, senior, number 4, Jessica Sordich. Outside hitter, number 5, Molly McBride. At center, number 8, Sophia Ivy. Middle hitter, senior, number 17, Paul Ye Dawkins. And at libero, number 6, Brittany Stolaby. Head coach for the Lady Lions and his Moore. Assistant coaches Nick Moore.
And there you have it, the starting lineups for both the Central Christian College Tigers and the SAGU Lady Lions as we prepare to go underway here. Devin, Coach Moore, after that loss last night, what do you tell your team to come back to another conference game today and bounce back?
Well, just in talking to him before the game, he was saying that, you know, any team can win on any given day. And so Central Christian was warming up on the floor when I was talking to him, and he was saying that even this team could come out and beat the Lady Lions. So it's not, you can't only look at the conference record and even the whole season record to get too confident, because if any team comes out more determined than the other, it's a toss-up. So he just encourages his team to focus, and today, you know, they had a really tough loss, as you mentioned last night, with some factors involved that affect the team dynamic today, and so they really have to overcome that. They've got to bring that mental focus and really come out strong from the get-go.
Central Christian will start off serving, and right there, as you're talking about it, the first point of the game rewarded to Central Christian. An error there on the serve from Callie Shaw. SAGU gets one right back. Callie Shaw will step back to serve for the Lady Lions. Good serve taken in that back row. First double contact call we see of the night. We saw that a lot last night, and it's first one comes here early.
And that referee last night, we talked about how tight he was calling them, and that play right there was a pretty obvious one, so we'll need to watch out to see if the referee's going to call as tight as last night.
Cross-court kill attempt by Morgan Cook, no good, goes wide. SAGU takes a 3-1 lead. Morgan Cook is one of their leading hitters. So keep an eye out for her as she looks to get in on the action. Shaw serving again. Now SAGU's got a chance to set up some offense. McBride to Ivy. Back to Dawkins on the slide. Dug out that time by Desiree Padilla. And blocked back down by Ivy and Dawkins. And SAGU jumps out to a quick 4-1 lead after the kill attempt by Casey Kraus. And Callie Shaw remains back to serve. SAGU's got a chance with a free ball here. So Sophia Ivy over to McBride. McBride blocked, but able to recover is that front line of the Tigers. Shaw to Ivy, back to McBride. Good rally here, the best one of the night so far, the best one of the day so far. Padilla. SAGU's got a chance to set some offense up. Ivy on the second hit, gets it over. We saw her try to use that left hand a lot last night against the Stars, but that good frontline defense kind of negated that. This time works out.
And you can see right there, Ivy noticed that hole right in the middle of the floor and took advantage of that with that second play. It's a great move.
Shaw is going to get herself an ace as SAGU jumps out to a commanding 6-1 lead, leading by 5. So far, this looks like a different Lady Lions team, playing crisp so far with the exception of that first point. Playing well. Shaw to Ivy, over to McBride. McBride blocked, Ivy there to recover. Sodich to Dawkins. Kraus blocked by Polly Dawkins. Casey Kraus, another one of these leading hitters for this team. She is one of the senior leaders, this time blocked by Dawkins. 7 serving 1 is Shaw. Gets another ace as it crossed up that back line, and Casey Platt could not handle it. And the Lady Lions, 8-1.
This is exactly what you want to see, an aggressive serve by Shaw to get ahead. This shows that, and I'm going to talk about before that missed serve, those previous serves that she had, serving so aggressively makes the other team really have to do everything tight. They've got to have a great pass off a tough serve. So now we've got a great lead going into the first set.
Ivy getting it over to Dawkins, and Dawkins couldn't get it past Frederickson. Shaw to Ivy to McBride, dug out by that back line. McBride to Ivy. From the back line, Callie Shaw. Here come the Tigers. Over to Kraus. Stolaby to Ivy to McBride again, and McBride finds it past that back line. And the Lions get that point back off the service error to go back up by 7. 9 serving 2 as Nikki Almaguer back to serve. Almaguer serve. And she's going to get herself an ace as she steps into the game. Casey Platt could not handle that serve. And the Lady Lions now with an 8-point lead. Padilla finds Frederickson, and that shot is blocked again. Collier Dawkins showing why she's an All-American.
And even in, a team that maybe on paper doesn't look as strong as the Lady Lions, you can see that the Lady Lions are still pulling together and playing as aggressively as possible, because a trap is easy to fall into. When you're playing a team that's not as strong, as you will play down to their level. But we can see here, as this first timeout is called at 12-2, the Lady Lions are definitely not falling into that trap.
Head coach Jeremy Manning calls a timeout after Nikki Almaguer comes in and gets 2 service aces out of her 3 serves. As she hit it to Casey Platt again, just crossed her up and could not get control of it. And here we see Coach Moore in this timeout has not come back into the huddle, and finally he's going to step in and finally be able to say something to his team, letting the teammates, or letting his players do a little bit of talking.
And sometimes when a timeout is called like this, and there's nothing that the Lady Lions need to change, I've seen Coach Moore not even say anything in the huddle other than good job, keep it up, because you don't want to overthink it. When the team is playing together and they're relaxed and doing things right, you don't want to overcomplicate the game. So, I'm sure he's saying in this huddle, if I had to guess, just keep doing what you're doing the little things right, not playing down to the level of the other team.
And that's most likely what he was saying in that timeout. Very positive atmosphere coming out of the timeout here by Central Christian. Nikki Almaguer is still back to serve with a 10-point lead, 12 serving 2. And this, like you said, is exactly how you want to bounce back after that tough loss to the Stars last night. Lady Lions, Stolaby to Ivy, back to Shaw. Blocked, but they're able to recover here for the time being. Kraus sends it over, Stolaby there to Ivy, over to Sodich. And Sodich able to power it down the line past Hannah Frederickson. And there we see Jessica Sodich starting to get involved here in set number 1. Almaguer to serve again. Padilla to Frederickson. They get it to the middle hitter, but Callie Shaw was there. Back to Almaguer. Can she find the back corner? She can. Nikki Almaguer from the back line, able to find that back corner.
And if you notice on this game, it looks like Central Christian is struggling a little bit communication-wise, and that play right there is a great example. And as Sodich goes up and tries to hit that overpass, we've got a point for Central Christian. But you can see there, just in the beginning of that replay, the team quite often is all falling down trying to cover the ball, which proves a little bit of a lack of communication, just like that.
Shaw has to dump it over. Can they get something on offense here? And that shot blocked by Dawkins and Sodich. And SAGU's got a chance to set up some more offense here. Ivy over to Sodich. Open hand tip, and she's going to convert. Jessica Sodich elects to go away from the power game this time. It looks like she did have that front line fooled.
And you see right there, as soon as she does that open-handed tip, she's ready for the ball to come back over. So she landed on the floor, went right back into a block jump to make sure that she was there to cover if the ball were to come back over the net.
And here is Bo coming in to serve, and her first serve of the match goes long. Lady Lions give it right back. 4 now serving 15 for Central Christian. Shaw handles the serve over to Ivy, over to Sodich. And Jessica Sodich again going to that former All-American here in the first set to build on this big lead. As you see Ivy back to the senior down the line. That's as easy as it gets. 16 serving 4 now for the Lady Lions. Ivy back to serve, taking in that back row. Fredrickson. A good stab by Bo over to Sodich. Can she do it again? She can. Gets it in front of the libero, Desiree Padilla. Bo doing a good job of sticking an arm out and keeping that ball in play.
And we're hopeful here that Sodich will continue this run of these great offensive plays. She struggled a little bit last night, so if she can make up for that today, she'll be in a really good spot as far as conference standings go.
Good dig there by Rebecca Glessner. Ivy for Shaw trying it again and gets it past Padilla and Glessner. SAGU goes up 18-4. Good dig on that initial hit by Callie Shaw, but they go right back to her and this time finds a hole in the defense. Sophia Ivy to serve. Again, 18 serving 4, Fredrickson. And right there, the Lady Lions can't really get it under control as Al McGeer tries to make a stab at it.
And you see there, that was barely tipped by the block, so normally you wouldn't want Almaguer to go for that ball because it's clearly out of bounds, but it had tipped off the block, so she made the right call.
Ivy to Shaw. Shaw kind of had to just punch it over, but the Lady Lions can set it up here. That is Madeline Hartline in the game for the first time. And Bo could not get in front of that one, and just like that, Central Christian has 2 points in a row here. 6 serving 18.
You've got to get your body behind the ball. We see there the ball, she had no control going for that because her body was all over the place. So if you can get the ball right in front of you, defensively, it's much easier to get a good pass.
Callie Shaw with the kill, gets it past the libero again. Callie Shaw now starting to feel the momentum. It was Jessica Sodich just a few points ago, but now Callie Shaw getting a couple kills under her belt. 19 serving 6 as Jessica Sodich is back to serve. And crossed up were the Tigers. Ivy over to Shaw. And they just got to dump it over again. Ivy looking for Hartline, who has a very good kill percentage on the year. Hit over 40% last night. And this time, powering it past that block, and they couldn't really, look like they couldn't tell where the ball went.
Yeah, and that's another great example of just the lack of communication. There was some confusion among the front line on who's supposed to cover that. That's why in any point in a volleyball game, you have to be communicating at any single time.
Molly McBride blocked at the line, and now Central Christian get it past that back row, and Brittany Stalaby, a good point there for Central Christian. They just got to battle back, try to get at least 10 points in this first set. Walk away with something to take into set number 2. Casey Platt to serve now. Ivy over to McBride. Stalaby to Ivy, back to Sodich, and Sodich goes with that open hand tip. McBride to Ivy, the Hartline, off the fingertips, and a good rally here. And then a good decision there, try to go cross court across the body by Morgan Cook. Just got a little too much of it. And well out of bounds. Brittany Stalaby, 21 serving 7. Now for the Lady Lions. Padilla to Fredrickson to Cook. Stalaby now to Ivy, over to McBride. Good dig by Padilla. SAGU's got a free ball here. Ivy back to Dawkins, and Ivy could not complete the pass to Dawkins.
We've seen a lot of free ball opportunities for the Lady Lions, and right there you see in that replay, Ivy's hips were just a little off center, so she was too focused on getting the ball far enough out. She forgot to get her feet set first, and in setting, that's the most important thing. Get your feet and hips in line so you can make sure the ball goes where you want it.
The Lady Lions get one back. It's going to be 22 serving 18. That ball goes out of bounds. 14-point lead for the Lady Lions. Callie Shaw, serve handled. Over to Sodich. To Ivy to McBride, and McBride powers it down. Lady Lions dominating this first set, 23-8. Three big hitters for the Lady Lions. Playing well in this first set in Shaw, McBride, and Sodich. Ivy to Dawkins looking to get involved here. Diving stab by Sodich, and the Lady Lions can't get it back under control. Central Christian walks away with a point there. Good effort by Sodich, just couldn't really, at that point, can't control where it goes.
When you're diving, it's a lot harder to tell the ball where to go.
Ivy to McBride. Now SAGU. Shaw to Ivy. Back to Shaw from the back row. Good kill attempt. And that kill by Casey Kraus finds its way past that initial line. And Hartline and Dawkins. And no chance for Shaw and Sodich. Ivy looking for Dawkins. Dawkins on the second hit, gets it over, and it's going to work for Collier Dawkins, reading the defense and giving SAGU set point here.
You can see there in that replay, she was a little off on that first contact, but then she came right back. She was alert and saw where the ball was, so she was able to attack it and get that kill on touch number 2.
Set point here in set number 1. Shaw to Ivy. Over to Sodich, blocked, good block there by Rebecca Glessner. Padilla keeping it alive. Stalaby couldn't handle it. Sodich to Almaguer. Almaguer to Ivy, back to Shaw. Good rally here for the last point for potentially the Lady Lions. Over to Sodich. And Sodich elects to go away from the power game and tips it over the front line to give SAGU set number 1, 25-10.
And I don't know if you picked up on it, but it seemed like throughout the last few points of that set, Central Christian was really struggling to get a set, an actual two-handed set in an offensive play. And that is, again, we've talked about it several times, but when you can't communicate amongst the team who sits on the floor and get a good pass up to the setter, it's a lot harder to run a competitive offensive play. And we saw that time after time. They were giving free balls to the Lady Lions, and thank goodness that the Lady Lions are ready for that, taking advantage and running different things on offense.
Again, Lady Lions take set number 1, 25-10. We talked about it before the game. How will the Lady Lions come back after that tough loss to the Stars last night? Devin, that question was answered in that first set.
They definitely came out ready, and as I mentioned before, as we started set number 1, when you're playing a team that is weaker than you on paper, it's so easy to mentally go into it thinking that it's going to be an easy win, and that we've seen it time and time again. When that happens, the higher ranked team tends to play down to whatever level of team they're playing, and Coach Moore really stresses the importance of going into every match wanting to play your best, and that is, I mean, evidenced by how they played today. A 25-10 first set. They definitely didn't let anything get in the way of their mental game here, which proved to be extremely helpful.
Coach Moore making his way into the huddle here between sets. After about a minute and a half there, looked like he was maybe just getting some stats from the statistician to see maybe what can he fix here in set number 2, but you really can't ask for much better play from the Lady Lions. Maybe a couple of errors, maybe on a serve or two, but Coach Moore has to be thrilled with the way his Lady Lions have battled back and played here today.
And hopefully we can see that same level of play as we start set number 2, because it really is emotionally hard to watch a game when you can see how well they play in set number 1, and if the team goes back into set number 2 thinking that they've got it in the bag. And that's why when we say that every set is a clean slate, it's true, whether you played really well or really poorly, because you don't want to go into set number 2 thinking that you have it easily won already, because the other team can come back and surprise you every time.
And you think that's what Coach Moore's telling his team? A former player for Coach Moore, I'm pretty sure you can guarantee that's what he's telling his team.
Yep, probably 99.9%.
There you see Coach Moore talking to last year's All-American Paulier Dawkins, the force in the middle. Had a couple of solo blocks there in set number 1. Playing well for the Lady Lions. Really the big 3 hitters for them, all converting at a good percentage in Shaw, McBride, and Sodich there in set number 1. And looks like the Lady Lions will step back to serve here to start set number 2. A little bit of substitution confusion going on here between officials and maybe the Lions, as we see Brittany Stolaby, the libero today for the Lady Lions, filling in for Celie Bruce, who went down with an ugly knee injury last night. You can see her on the bench. For the Lady Lions, Stolaby, though, doing a good job today of filling in where she can at the libero position. And here is Stolaby to serve. Start set number 2. And the first point goes to the Lady Lions. We just talked about Paulier Dawkins, and there she is again.
And that's a great momentum builder right off the bat. And you can see there that the block was in perfect position. Their hands were penetrated over the net, which is why the ball went straight down.
Stolaby serve, taking in that back row. Fredrickson. Sodich able to handle that. Over to Shaw. And Shaw down the line, and the Lady Lions get their second straight point. Callie Shaw on fire today. Brittany Stolaby still serving for the Lady Lions. Taken in by Casey Platt. Good job by Stolaby. Over to Sodich, back to McBride. And McBride goes cross court, and that is what she does so well. The ability to control where her kills go. We see it there. SAGU goes up 3-0.
And you see in that last rally, Sodich stepped in to take that second ball to set. Coach Moore, one thing he really stresses is that every player on the court is a setter. With, excuses from hitters that come in and say, I can't set the ball. In a moment like that, you see how important it is for everyone to be able to step in no matter what position you are on the floor.
They're going to get, looks like they're going to get SAGU. They're going to go against SAGU here. That's going to be the 4th point on the set. I thought maybe they were going to get Dawkins for reaching over the net. With SAGU on the violation. Stolaby to serve again. 4 serving nothing in set number 2. And Central Christian, the Tigers, just can't get anything going right now. Casey Krause's kill attempt goes right into the net.
I think what happened on that last play, there's a little bit of confusion from R1 and R2. I think they ended up calling number 10 for Central Christian in the net. And right here, we saw the Lady Lions take advantage of that for 2 points, and now with that missed serve, Central Christian has the ball back.
Good start to set number 2 here. Now 1 serving 5 for the Tigers as Desiree Padilla is back to serve. Taken in by Stolaby, over to Ivy. Looking for Shaw, kind of punches it over, and it's going to work. A bad pass out of position was Shaw. And you see her just punch it over, get it past that front line.
And you see right there on Central Christian's side, there was a huge gap in left back. And you saw number 14, Casey Platt, running up at the last minute, but unfortunately she wasn't there in time to cover the block.
And Callie Shaw gets herself an ace as they can't handle that serve, and it goes up into the stands. 7 serving 1 now for the Lady Lions. Shaw's second serve this time handled a little better, let's say, by that back line. We see Paulier Dawkins. The pass from Sophia Ivy and we see Jessica Sodich with a big smile on her face. She knows what we just saw. That's unstoppable.
That's why it's so important to have a strong free ball pass, because you can run fun things like that.
Stolaby takes it down the line. Ivy over to McBride, and McBride goes cross court again, dug out by the Tigers. Back row from Shaw. Dawkins steals that block kill. And McBride again, this time converting, getting in front of Desiree Padilla. And the Lady Lions not missing any beats tonight. Here you see McBride, this time going to that back row. 9 serving 1. Shaw to Ivy, back to McBride, blocked. Shaw there though, Ivy over to McBride again, open hand tip. Fielded cleanly by the Tigers. Ivy to Dawkins. Not as pretty this time, but it almost works, and it will. Polly A. Dawkins, we saw a couple points ago, just a beautiful kill. This time had to adjust her jump in mid-air. A lot less on it, but the Lady Lions walk away with a point.
If you notice on that last play, Central Christian again was kind of scrambling around. We see a lot of girls falling on the floor, arms flaring, trying to get the ball in the middle of the floor for play again, and that just kind of shows a little bit of a lack of control. And we've seen it on the Lady Lions too a few times. Communication is key.
And there we see Jessica Sodich from the back line, the back row, able to kill it, land it inbounds, and Lady Lions up 12-1 here in set number 2. Padilla just has to dump it over. Ivy, McBride powers it down again, and there we see the gap in the defense. It looks like nobody in that back row is moving.
And this is a lot of fun to see really strong offense from all of our offensive players for the Lady Lions. I mean, we're not favoring any one person. Every player is playing really great, doing some aggressive things.
Double contact now for the Tigers. They cannot get anything to go their way, as head coach Jeremy Manning is going to take a timeout here after that violation. Trailing in set number 2, 14-1. And if you're Coach Moore, as you see the game we're keeping an eye on, Oklahoma City over Texas Wesleyan, 1-0 right now. Again, if you're a Lady Lions supporter, you want Texas Wesleyan to walk away with a win over the Stars to kind of keep that tie in first place locked up between these 3 teams. But now, if you're Coach Moore here, what do you say to your team? You're 14-1. Not a whole lot to fix here aside from a service error.
Well, and you can see here he's not even in the huddle in this moment. Here he goes walking up right now. But the team again is doing everything right. We've got 1 point for Central Christian off of a missed serve for us. And, you know, of course, you want to eliminate all errors if possible. But in the grand scheme of the game, this is a really, really great example of the Lady Lions coming together and playing as a team. They're passing well. They're playing great defense. Communication is happening so actively on the floor, which, as you see, Central Christian they're struggling a little bit in their communication, which is why we've seen girls scrambling, falling, trying to get any kind of play on the ball. When you communicate and know what you're supposed to cover on the floor, it makes it so much easier to run aggressive and competitive plays.
Lady Lions, Callie Shaw still back to serve. 14 serving 1 here in set number 2. And the Tigers still out of the timeout, can't get anything going. And the Lady Lions up 15-1. As they just had to dump it over, could not even succeed doing that. Shaw now with the serve. Taken in by Fredrickson. And it looked like McKaylin Tuttle just had to punch that over, and she may have just whiffed on it. The left hand just couldn't get there. Maybe too long of a pass, but Callie Shaw still back to serve. And that hit's going to go long. The Lady Lions cruising here in set number 2. And the Tigers still just cannot get anything going for them. Shaw again. Fredrickson. Shaw with one-hand diving effort over to McBride. Blocked down, Shaw still there. Dawkins, can they get it over? They can. Padilla diving effort to Fredrickson. Over to Kraus. Here's Sodich now. Ivy to McBride. And McBride, good dig that time by Desiree Padilla. Dollaby down to her knees. Ivy to the back row to Shaw. And Shaw puts it down the line inbounds. And the Lady Lions, all smiles right now. 18 serving 1. The first real good rally we saw here in set number 2. And the Tigers can't convert.
And something that shows how well the Lady Lions are playing in this match is that with Central Christian only having 1 point off of 1 error, you can see that we're forcing the other team to make errors. We're playing aggressive ball, but we're not doing too much, outside of what we typically do. We're just allowing for the other team to make those errors. And right there we see Central Christian has an opportunity now with an error on behalf of the Lady Lions to come back in this set.
2 serving 18, a 16-point deficit for the Tigers. And there is Dawkins, the shot blocked right back in the face of Sophia Ivy, and a good block. There you see Dawkins. We saw that work earlier in this set, but a good job to stand tall there on that front line of defense.
What we want to make sure the Lady Lions don't do is stop being aggressive. So we want to keep passing well. They want to keep running plays. And we see here yet another bit of a scramble for Central Christian.
Yes, Sodas from that back line, dug out by Padilla. They just got to get it over. Can they? They will. Sodich to Ivy. Back to Dawkins. A whistle here. And it looks like a player is down, holding an ankle. Is Hannah Fredrickson, the senior who's doing the setting today for Central Christian, favoring that left ankle.
You saw in that last rally, she was running to get a ball back in play and fell all the way under the net. So we noticed that fall. That may be what she's favoring that ankle for. It didn't seem like she went down in the right way, and so here she is getting back up. You see there, she's all the way under the floor, or under the net, excuse me, and looks like she may have just misstepped a little bit.
It just looks like it got caught up underneath her, but she is able to walk off under her own power back to the training room. That's a good sign. No limp, no visible limp really for Fredrickson, as we're going to get a timeout from Jeremy Manning, an injury timeout here as SAGU leads 18-3. And there you see the demeanor. We didn't see this last night against the Stars. There's dancing going on in Coach Moore's huddle. Well, not Coach Moore's huddle quite yet, as we see there he goes walking in after this timeout. Lady Lions, high spirits here, and every right to be up 18-3 here in set number 2.
And it's great for them to take advantage of being ahead this far and having a good time after such a tough loss last night. You see that they still enjoy being together as a team, even though they had a lot of frustrating moments in last night's match. They're still able to come together and have a great time, and the score is really speaking for itself, and that they're not going to lay down and just let this game go. They're going to play aggressively and take every single point that they can away from Central Christian.
Central Christian already back out onto the floor. As SAGU will continue to serve here. Still leading 18-3 here in set number 2. I believe it's SAGU serve. Can't really tell where they're lining up right now. Who's supposed to serve here for this point? It should be SAGU ball. I believe they called maybe a net violation on Fredrickson as she did go under the net. Confusion here between officials. Oh, it's a substitution question here for R2. And it will be Central Christian ball as they're back to serve with Casey Kraut.
And there's been some changing in the rules recently where a player can go all the way under the net, like we saw, and not be technically a net violation if they're not interfering with the play of the ball.
Molly McBride comes back out of that injury timeout and hammers it home. 19 now serving 3, as you see Ivy, the perfect pass to Molly McBride. Nikki Almaguer is now back to serve for the Lady Lions. Therefore, it is Almaguer over to Ivy, over to Sodich. And blocked initially, had a chance at it, but it looked like it came down the back of Michaela Tuttle. And she just couldn't find it.
And a really important part of being a front row player, when you go up to block like that, you've got to be able to turn around and be aware of what's going on at all times. And we see right there a little bit of a miscommunication for the Lady Lions. 3 people going for the same ball, which is better than nobody at all, I guess. And so we're going to see Central Christian have another opportunity here.
And we said this last night against OCU. OCU came out in that 3rd set and really dominated the Lady Lions. But the Stars did have a couple of errors there towards the end of the set, but at that point they were already up by 12 points as the Tigers have a service error. If you're the Lady Lions, you'd rather see that miscommunication when you're up 21-4 rather than a tightly contested set when it's 23-21. So not a huge deal. I'm sure Coach Moore will get onto him for that, but Lady Lions 21 serving 4.
And as a coach, you really do want to see multiple people going for the same ball rather than no one. He always stresses if a ball hits the floor, there better be at least 2 bodies along with it.
Callie Shaw, and there we see some more miscommunication on the side of the Tigers. Casey Platt hit it into the face there of Valeria Hess, or rather that's Morgan Cook, just wasn't ready for it. The Lady Lions still rolling here in set number 2, 22 serving 4 as Bo is back there to serve. Padilla, back row over to Cook. And there is Sodich to Ivy, back to Sodich. And Sodich's kill attempt blocked down. Good frontline defense on that point by the Tigers.
And that's something we haven't seen yet. We see it again here in this replay. Those blockers were in place, ready to go, penetrating the net. And we know that Sodich is a strong offensive player, so that's a good block for Central Christian.
Sodich with the second touch, gets it to that back corner. Not something we saw happen a lot last night. They didn't stop him from trying it, but today, Sodich able to find that back corner. Good job there to read the defense. 23 serving 5 as Sophia Ivy is back to serve. Low to Ivy. To Shaw, punches it. Can she find that back line? She can't. And the Lady Lions give up a point there.
That set was a little bit tight, and I think Shaw was further back than she anticipated when she started that approach. So you saw her kind of make a lunge toward the ball last minute, which offset her entire plan, and the ball went out of bounds.
Ivy to Sodich, and Sodich looked like a double clutch in the air, able to hang up high enough and get the ball there to the back corner across her body. Incredible shot by Jessica Sodich.
When all of her momentum is going one direction, when she's in the air and she's able to turn her wrist, that really can throw off the defense, as we saw.
Set point here in set number 2 for the Lady Lions. Sodich over to Shaw. And Shaw trying to get it down the line. It was tipped, and that's going to take set number 2 for your SAGU Lady Lions by a score of 25-6. We thought set 1 was impressive. What the Lady Lions did here in set number 2 to take it by a deficit of 19, Devin.
And I've mentioned this several times, but it's so great to see that the Lady Lions aren't just laying down and letting the other team get up in any close contest for them. They're trying new offensive plays. They've got some different people playing in different spots than they normally do. And this is a great opportunity. You switch things in practice so much, and it's great volleyball.
We're going to see what assistant coach Nick Moore has to say about the Lady Lions play so far. He's down there with Kat Burns. Kat, what's Nick have to say?
Thanks, Adam. Nick, how hard is it to play a team that isn't necessarily playing as well as you are?
Really, we just got to worry about ourselves, keep pushing points, keep staying in system, doing the things that we know we need to do to win.
And what can we learn from playing a game like this?
Really just working on our emotional maturity, making sure that we're staying up regardless of what happened the point before or the point behind. We're doing a lot better today than we did yesterday.
And what do we need to continue to do to finish out this 3rd set and take home a win today?
Really just keep playing good defense at the net, playing good defense behind the blocks as well, and then keep swinging, and it'll take care of itself.
Thank you, Nick. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Coach Nick Moore. The Lady Lions up 2-0 and have not been in danger of dropping any sets tonight against this Tiger team. Now, realistically, coming into this game, Central Christian being their first year in the Sooner, don't really know how they're going to perform. The Lady Lions expected to win this game. It's got to be nice for Coach Moore and his young Lady Lions team to come in today and play like a team that was expected to win.
Yeah, and I think we've seen, like we've talked about, a lot of really great different offensive plays. The Lady Lions are staying up at their level of play, and it looks like here he's going to maybe switch things up a bit and put in some players that don't typically play. I see him talking to some girls we haven't seen on the floor, running out some play calls here. It looks like they're going to really take advantage of how far of a lead that they've had in both set 1 and set 2 and try to run some different things. And that's a great opportunity as a coach when, of course, you can do that in practices, but it all is different when it comes out on the floor in a game setting. And you can see how certain people are going to perform when they're actually out on the floor. So this is going to be a really, really great opportunity for some of these Lady Lions players that don't see the floor quite as much to show what they can do.
And we do indeed see freshman Ashlyn Thomas step out onto the court alongside Madeline Hartline, who is a regular for the Lady Lions, a very good hitter for Coach Moore and this young team. And we also see Brianna Wells step out of the court, a middle hitter backing up really Polly Dawkins is Wells. And that is a pretty good player to sit behind and learn from in Polly Dawkins if you are Wells. We'll see what she brings to the table here. Of course, both those middle hitters for the Lady Lions standing at 5'11", just shy 6 feet. See Brittany Stolby come back out onto the court. And there you see the All-American senior, Polly Dawkins, speaking with fellow senior Summer Skiller there on the bench as she's going to catch a quick break. And Brianna Wells has come into the game rather for Dawkins. Alongside, again, former All-American Jessica Sodich. A tight bond between those two seniors. Stolby over to Ivy, looking for Shaw, and Shaw's first kill of set number 3 is good. And SAGU again has themselves a lead. Here is Callie Shaw after converting that kill attempt. Her first serve of set number 3 goes into the net. And we saw that give the Tigers their first point back in set number 2 off a service error.
And hopefully we stay how we've been in set 1 and 2 and allowing Central Christian to make the errors and us stay mentally focused on the Lady Lions side so that we can keep that high level of play going.
There's Brianna Wells, gets a piece of it, not all of it. And then Ivy with the left hand just gets it back over. Shaw there for it. Ivy, left hand again. It's gonna work. Ivy was in position and was able to get that second hit and just place it off the hands of the front blocker, Michaela Tuttle. And SAGU now leading 2-1 here in set number 3. Nikki Almaguer back to serve. Summer Skiller checks into the game. And that one blocked by the new middle hitter, Brianna Wells, along with Sophia Ivy. And SAGU now looks to extend this lead, 3 serving 1. Almaguer still back to serve. Taking in that back row, there is Hannah Fredrickson. We saw her go out with an ankle injury. It is good to see her back. That attempt evidently lands on the line, giving the Tigers a point here.
You just saw a lack of communication there. Someone's just got to run and take that ball, and you got to call it right as soon as it's coming over the net.
Summer Skiller, we see her first attempt of the night blocked, and the Tigers fighting back. They have it tied here at 3 apiece. And so far, the best volleyball we've seen of the night for Central Christian here in set number 3. Almaguer takes it in over to Ivy. Looking for Shaw from the back row. He gets a lot on it. Fredrickson looking for Glessner. Ivy over to Skiller. Padilla. The Lady Lions, Ivy Over to Skillern again, and Skillern tries to go cross court with it, and she cannot convert that kill attempt, and the Tigers have their first lead of the night here in set number 3, 4 serving 3.
And if you notice in that replay, Summer Skillern went up, her shoulders were facing completely outside the court, and she also did a cut shot with her hand. You've got to choose one or the other, which is why that ball went so far out of bounds.
And there we see Skillern come right back with a successful kill this time, as it was blocked initially at the line, a little too much space in between the blockers, and it lands right in front of them.
Serving Bojan Vukadinovic.
And Bo back to serve for the Lady Lions. 4-all here in set number 3. And a good serve that time by Bo. Finds the hole in the defense, and the diving Padilla could not get there. Just enough on it to land in front of Padilla.
And this will be a great opportunity for the Lady Lions to aggressively serve. We've seen, like you said, a lot better volleyball from Central Christian in set number 3. So it's going to be a good opportunity here for Bo to continue that run of serving, as we just noticed a lot of great defensive from both sides of the floor right there. And unfortunately, Central Christian miscommunication on that tip.
Sophia Ivy on the overpass, she is able to get the right-handed kill attempt. We've seen her use both hands so far tonight. Very skilled setter for the Lady Lions. Looking to get it to Skillern. And Skillern hit it with the left hand, and it goes out of bounds. And that offensive series just looked out of sync, as it looked like that ball may have went around the antenna. Saw it land inbounds, but did not hit it inbounds, did Skillern. Almaguer to Ivy. The slide to Hartline. And that's going to work. It was dug out by Casey Kraus. Did a good job to get in front of that ball, but there was just no one there for the Tigers to convert.
It looks like the setter there just didn't break to the net, and that was, I mean, you could not have a better defensive pass than what just happened for the Tigers. So that's a really unfortunate miscommunication.
That ball blocked by Hartline and Shaw, but goes off in front of Skillern, and the Tigers get that point back. Good kill there by Morgan Cook, as it lands in front of Summer Skillern. Serve brought in by Bo. Over to Ivy. Over to Shaw, and that's what you want. Feed it to Callie Shaw, and she converts, giving SAGU that 2-point lead right back, as we see Molly McBride and Ashlyn Thomas check into the game for the Lady Lions. And it is Thomas who will step back to serve, the freshman setter. Taken in that back row. McBride is there for it. Over to Ivy. Back to Shaw. And Shaw gets another kill as it lands inbounds for the Lady Lions. A good kill by Shaw. Getting it past that last line of defense and doing a good job with enough touch to keep it in bounds. Padilla takes in the serve. Ivy can't return that ball, and the Lady Lions there out of sync on that offensive series.
In a scenario like that where you have a pass that isn't perfectly to the setter, the most important thing to remember is you always just want the ball to end up high in the middle of the floor. So you saw the Lady Lions there couldn't really do that, but that always makes it easier to keep a ball in play if you're able to get a ball high in the middle.
And that kill attempt from Hartline goes long, and that's going to pull Central Christian back within 1, 8 serving 9. Again, the best volleyball of the night being played here by the Tigers. McBride kind of takes a stab at that one. Bo from the back line hits it into the net. And we're all tied up here in set number 3, 9 apiece. Bo looked like she had a good angle on it, just could not get underneath it enough, and it goes right into the net. Back to serve again is Casey Platt. Again, 9-all. McBride takes in the serve. Over to Ivy. Back to McBride. And McBride powers it down. She stops the mini comeback there by the Tigers. Gets it past those blockers.
And again, we just have to see both sides of the court doing the little things right. That's how you make a competitive match. And we've seen both sides make silly mistakes in communication and placement on the floor. So it all goes back to the fundamentals of the game.
A good serve by Stalaby. And SAGU's going to have a free ball here. Stalaby over to Ivy, back to Shaw. And Callie Shaw powers it past Casey Platt. And SAGU gets that 2-point lead right back. And with all the fresh new faces on the court, we still see Callie Shaw dominating. Stalaby serve brought in by Padilla. Down low to Hess. And then we see Ashlyn Thomas unable to handle that kill attempt. And the Tigers get one right back.
And it looked like that was going to be soaring out of bounds. So generally a rule of thumb when you're on the back row, especially in middle back, if you are in the right placement on the floor, which is deep in the middle, if you have to put your hands up to play defense or pass a serve, it's going out of bounds. So that right there was just a last minute mistake right there by number 1, Ashlyn Thomas. And we see there a shank on a serve. You've got it. You see her arms are outside of her body, and serving and in defense, you have to keep your body fully behind the ball.
And there we see the Lady Lions hit out of bounds. And Central Christian out with the lead here in set number 3. Callie Shaw's hit blocked out of bounds. That's going to be a point for the Lions as they tie it back up. As Callie Shaw is back to serve. And here is Central Christian. Callie Shaw down to her knees. Ivy over to McBride. Good dig by Padilla, but it's going to go right back to the Lady Lions. Ivy on the second hit, the left hand. It's working for her tonight as she's able to take that aggressively.
And when you have a really tight pass, you see how tight that was right there by Shaw. It's really fortunate that Ivy's on the front row, because if you're on the back row as a setter, that's a really hard play to come back from. So she's taking advantage of it, using that strong left hand to turn it into an offensive play.
Stalaby hits it over, and the Tigers were ready for it as they get themselves a point back here, tied at 13 all. Will land right on the line. Here's Padilla to serve, the lefty. Shaw takes it in over to Ivy. And Shaw blocked on an island that time. It was McKaylin Tuttle able to take that Shaw kill back down into SAGU territory.
And that definitely is something we haven't seen from the Tigers. So that's a great play. And it's so unfortunate in a scenario like that. You have a great single stuff block and you come back and miss a serve. That is all mental right there. So unfortunately, we see here the Tigers didn't take advantage of that great play with an unfortunate miss serve.
Here is Nikki Almaguer, 14 all, and then her serve goes into the net. Back-to-back errors on either side. And the Lady Lions give one right back. It's going to be 15 serving 14 in favor of Central Christian. Wells, Almaguer just has to get it over. Skillern to Ivy. Back to Shaw, open hand tip. Blocked down, but kept alive. Shaw over to Skillern. Skillern punches it over. And there is Brianna Wells. Looks like there's going to be a violation call on Central Christian.
That's a net violation. You see right here on her way down, number 11 hits in the net just right at the end of that play. And unfortunately, that was a great hit on the overpass there.
It was. Brianna Wells took advantage.
Serving Bojana Vukadinovic.
Here is Bo back to serve. Now 15 all. And that could have sent out of bounds, but it was tipped at the line. So that's going to give Central Christian a point right back. Now 16 serving 15. The Tigers back to serve with Valeria Hess. Ivy Looking for Hartline. Hartline tried to get it to that back corner. Shaw, diving attempt. Skillern gets it back in play. Almaguer just has to get it over. Taken in by Padilla. It looked like Cook tried to scoop it over Shaw, and there's going to be a whistle, a double contact called against Central Christian.
You see the spin on that ball, giving it away right there in that replay. It's a good call by R1.
Back to serve for the Lady Lions is Sophia Ivy. To that back row, Almaguer taking it in over to Ivy. 16 all here, and Summer Skillern, open hand tip, gets it over past that front line and gives SAGU the lead back.
That was a perfectly planned tip. You have a double block there, so there's nobody right behind the block. Someone is supposed to be close enough, but if you can get the perfect speed on the tip, that's going to be a kill every time.
We see SAGU set back to serve here, 17 serving 16. Sophia Ivy back to serve for the Lady Lions. And that ball goes right into the net. Ivy gives the point right back to the Tigers. 17 all here in set number 3. After getting 16 points combined in the first 2 sets, the Tigers have succeeded that goal here. 17 points here in set 3 as we are locked up at 17 all. Almaguer taking a stab at it. It looked like that one may have been going out of bounds.
You see Coach Moore here calling a timeout right after that last error by Almaguer, and it just seems as though, you know, we know that we're playing a different rotation for the Lady Lions, but even still, if you don't have your strongest players on the floor, you should still be able to communicate, come together as a team, because this entire team practices together on a daily basis. And you see there Sodich encouraging number 10, Nikki Almaguer. This is one of those timeouts where Coach Moore knows that the team can play cleaner volleyball than this, and as evidenced by the score, I mean, with as big of a deficit as we had in sets 1 and 2, this is very unlike the past games that we've seen between Central Christian and the Lady Lions. And so this is a timeout. We just got to calm down. And you see there, unfortunately,
for the Lady Lions, unfortunately, Texas Wesleyan down 2-0 to Oklahoma City. The Stars finding their momentum here when it counts against these top teams in the Sooner Athletic Conference. If they walk away with a win against Texas Wesleyan, they will be in sole possession of first place thanks to that tiebreaker in that victory over the Lady Lions last night, 3-1. As we see Jessica Sodich making her way back onto the court. Coach Moore may be wanting to close this one out with his All-American in Sodich. Back to serve for the Tigers is Michaela Tuttle. Taken in, Sodich, maybe a little bench rust there. Coming off the bench, couldn't handle that serve. It goes right through her hands. Not something you see from Sodich.
that just looks like the first play after sitting out for this entire set.
Ivy, the second hit, gets it this time with the right hand. Sophia Ivy doing a good job from both sides. Again, reading that defense and knowing exactly where to place it. Sodich back to serve now, 18 serving 19. And that kill's gonna find that back corner. Just like that, Central Christian up 20-18 here in set number 3. And back to serve is Casey Platt. Just has to get it over Hartline. A good job of keeping it under control. And that shot blocked by Hartline and Callie Shaw, putting it back within 1. 19 now serving 20.
And that was a really impressive play to come back from there. You saw a lot of hustle from the Lady Lions, and then right after running all over the floor, they're able to get back in position for a clean block.
Stalaby to serve. And that kill blocked again. Back-to-back blocks as we see Polly Dawkins enter the game again. Now tied 20 apiece. And if you're Coach Moore, this is who you want to get back in there. You don't want to give up the set number 3. You want to walk away with a 3-set-to-none victory, hopefully here. And the Lady Lions have a chance to set up some offense. Sodich to Ivy, to McBride, and McBride powers it down, and just like that, you get your players back in, and you get the lead.
And you see a very obvious difference here between those two key players in Dawkins and Sodich. They just bring a different level of play to the floor.
Stalaby back to serve. 21 serving 20. Sodich makes a stab at it, and it's going to be in play. Shaw just has to get it over. And does a good job. Sodich. Stalaby looking at that back line. And blocked by McBride and Dawkins, but that's going to be a point for Central Christian, and they get it back up here to 21-21. Here again, set number 3, the Lady Lions leading 2-0. 2 sets to none, that is. As back to serve is Hannah Fredrickson. Sodich to Ivy, to Shaw. And there's Polly Dawkins on the first hit. There's not much more you can say about that. There's no one in position.
And she was ready and waiting for that. You see she's right there taking advantage of that. That's a great play. As a middle blocker, it's really hard to tell if you should take one like that. So when it works out in your favor, that's great.
Lady Lions, unfortunately for SAGU, can't convert on that one as the ball hits McBride in the face off the block. And it's going to be 22 all here in set number 3 as Padilla is back to serve now. Shaw over to Sophia Ivy, back to Shaw. Hits the net, and that's going to be a good break for the Lady Lions. What looked to be maybe a free ball for the Tigers. Hits the net, and the momentum off the player there for the Tigers. That was Rebecca Glessner. So it was out of bounds. SAGU has a 23-22 lead. McGear to serve. McGear there digs it out. Ivy to Sodich. And Sodich's kill is good, giving SAGU match point here. As it looked like it was tipped down the line. Here's McGear now. Again, serving for match point. 24 serving 22. Not quite yet, says the Tigers. They are still in it here in set number 3. It's going to be 23 serving 24 as Casey Krause is back to serve. Shaw takes it in. Over to Ivy. Over to Sodich, and that's who you want to get it to. And the Lady Lions convert the kill attempt and are going to walk away with a 3-set-to-none victory against the Central Christian Tigers after a 25-23 tightly contested third set, where we did see some of the players that we typically wouldn't see come into the game for Coach Moore. But regardless, a good job by Central Christian to battle back and make that third set very, very respectable.
And again, as we mentioned before going into set number 3, we knew that Coach Moore was going to switch things up a bit, and with such a young team, it's a great opportunity to be able to take advantage of. I mean, you want to be able to get those younger players that don't see the floor as much in a game setting. You want to be able to get them touches on the ball, and it worked out that time for Lady Lions to be able to pull out and win 3-0.
There you see the prayer circle, as is custom here at SAGU after every game. Led by Coach Moore, the 17th year head coach here for the Lady Lions. An exciting team he's got under his belt here. A young team too, with a lot of contributors here from freshmen and sophomores. As again, the Lady Lions are going to walk away with a 3-0 victory over the Central Christian Tigers, who come all the way from Kansas. Gotta feel good if you're the Lady Lions, bouncing back over the Oklahoma City loss last night. Again, losing Sealy Bruce, which is a big loss, but Stalaby stepped into the libero role tonight, and she was able to really succeed and prosper tonight as she played well defensively and serving, did Stalaby. Shows how deep this SAGU Lady Lions team is, not only on their hitters, but on their defensive players. Stalaby doing a good job.
That's what you want to see as a coach. You don't want to have just one star player where the rest of the team can't recover from. But a great depth, as you mentioned.
Our very own Kat Burns is with Sophia Ivy, who's closing in on 2,000 career assists. Kat, what does Sophia have to say about this big victory against Central Christian here today in Waxahachie?
Adam, Sophie, you're on your way to 2,000 assists as a sophomore. How does that feel?
It's just such an honor to play with these girls, and like I just put the ball up and they slam it. Like that's all I can do, and great passes and great kills, so it's all good.
And how do you feel just being a part of SAGU volleyball and being able to contribute to this team?
I just love volleyball so much, and just the school spirit and the school pride, and just the girls I'm playing with, like they're my sisters. I'll love them forever, and it's just such a great honor.
Thank you so much, Sophie. Good job tonight. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Sophia. And thank you, Coach Nick Moore, getting himself in the background there as he waves. High spirits here for the Lady Lions after a big bounce-back win against the Central Christian Tigers.
That's a really great thing to come back after a tough loss last night, especially to get some opportunity for those players, as we mentioned, that don't see the floor as much. Everyone's in high spirits because it's more fun to be able to play, so those players were able to get some court time. And then it was a very nice 3-game sweep for the Lady Lions, which should hopefully lift their spirits into next week.
We're keeping a close eye on that Texas Wesleyan and OCU game. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on all of our social media. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, anything you could possibly want to keep up to the minute with the SAGU sports here, especially volleyball, as that top of the Student Athletic Conference standing gets a little crowded here. There you see everything we've got. Give us a like or a follow. Stay up to the minute with SAGU Sports Network news for all your sports here. SAGU, again, right now sitting at the top. That's just until Texas Wesleyan and Oklahoma City are over here later this afternoon. But as of right now, the Lady Lions sit atop the Student Athletic Conference standings. Again, go ahead and give us a like and follow. We'll keep you up to the minute, not just with SAGU Sports, but with the standings, the conference standings of our respective conferences. Our next broadcast is this next Saturday, 1 week from today. Homecoming football game. The SAGU Lions play host to Wayland Baptist. As you see, pregame show starts at 1:40. We'll have a couple special festivities as we have a major tailgating event happening. So go ahead and pen that in your schedule. This upcoming Saturday, 2 o'clock kickoff, 1:40 pregame show. Wayland Baptist and the SAGU Lions face off on the football field for homecoming weekend. A big shout out, big thank you to our student crew, our courtside reporter Kat Burns, my partner Devin Webb. As always, I'm Adam Ferguson. Thank you for watching the SAGU Sports Network.